Welcome back to week 4, the final week of our At the Bar series with Marcella Davis, founder and director of Real People Equity. So we're going to get into a lot more of the meat around your field. Really tricky questions. So what are the ways that you find organisations can steer and develop commercial outcomes that aren't necessarily just a commercial transaction?
An interesting one, because I base a lot of the work that I do around commercial outcomes. I think businesses get confused. I think that there are commercial transactions, profitable commercial transactions, but commercial outcomes through people. Sometimes they go, what is that? And a big part of that is driving productivity, performance, and people at the right time, right place.
Right.
So a big believer in driving high levels of productivity to draw out better commercial outcomes. So when your workforce is productive and at their most productive levels, naturally it has a trickle effect into your bottom line.
So not focusing on that bottom line and that product transaction, you find still
Yeah,
creates
absolutely.
a big ROI.
Yeah, well, and again, discretionary effort. I talk highly about discretionary effort. It doesn't cost you more, but you're getting more from your people.
Because I suppose a lot of people that don't understand your space and don't understand people management and people equity don't see an ROI on that, do you find? Or do they understand this space?
I think that's where we play a role in trying to educate. And funny enough, when I start talking that language, when the business starts talking that language, there is a natural, come on board and help me do that. Because I think again I just think again, they think HR and people stuff is kind of recruit and select and fire, you know, and it's
surely we've moved beyond the production. No, we're still in the.
We've still got a ways to go.
We're still in the manufacturing age of stand there and do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fair enough. And what do you find is the biggest challenge in most organisations?
Do you know, it's interesting watching the landscape at the moment. For me, I'm watching what Amazon's going to do in our industry, and I think the challenges for organisations is keeping abreast as to what's happening outside of your own four walls and being proactively managing your workforce to that. I think that there's a huge risk in not understanding what is happening out there. I think sometimes we're so focused in our own space, we're not watching what's happening outside of those four walls, and market is really shifting. So
I'm going to drop a question on you that's probably an entire series in and of itself. When we're talking the difference between different generations, and obviously millennials, Gen Y, Gen X, etc. What are your thoughts in that space? I see a lot more people coming through now, the younger generation, almost expecting and asking, well, what's the company going to give me? And almost like their resumes are, you can help me with this, rather than I can help you with that. Yep. How do you think that's come about? Is it just because Google and Yahoo are giving, and Amazon are giving such amazing workplaces, or?
Yeah, I think there's a bit of that. I think it's always been there. I think sometimes I think we think it's generational. I think it's always been there, where what do I get from this? And I think smart businesses know that there's a place in saying, this is what we get from you and this is what you get from us. I think if you're negligent to that and don't acknowledge that actually loyalty doesn't look like 15 years or join the 25-year club anymore.
It's a 25-week club if they can.
That's right. And I think it is, again, about going, that's okay. It's just,
how do we work with it?
How do you work with it? Exactly. Soon there's going to be robots anyway. So I think it's going to stuff up everything. So,
it is. I remember my dad saying years ago, never choose a job that can be replaced by a robot. That's becoming harder and harder to do as robots and AI get smarter and smarter.
Yeah.
So wrapping it up for our 4-part series, what would be the one piece of advice that you would give to someone in this industry, in your industry?
Yeah, I think if I look at it in the HR sense specifically, I think it is about making sure you stay relevant. And when I say relevant, you make it your business to understand the business, because that's how you isolate yourself and you're not the enabler. So stay relevant and commercial. In terms of starting your own business, I think it's just about being persistent and enjoying the ride. Yeah.
Very nice advice.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and join us for the next At the Bar series.